Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the 4 P's of career decisions. Consider the career graph of person A. The one dimension on which we'll measure this person's career progression is time. And we would also add another dimension. I'll talk about it in a bit. Consider another graph of person B, a third graph of person C, and a fourth graph of person D. Now, if I use payment or salary as the other axis to measure on, you can see that person A has always had a very uniform salary over a period of time. Similarly, person C has seen gradual increase in salary over a period of time, and then person B and person D have witnessed highs and lows in their salary. Now, if I change this payment or perks or salary with profile or position, you can still see that person A has maintained the same profile or position till the end of their career, and other people have had different combinations of their career path. Now, why am I talking to you about this, and what are the 4 P's of career choices and how does that relate to us? The first thing I wanted to say is no person will ever get a view of their career like this right from day one. So if you're standing here, you will never know that for the rest of your career you will be in the same position or you will have the same package. Similarly, if you're standing here as person D, you will never know whether you will actually go back in your career in terms of profile, position or payment. If you're person B, you will never know that there would come a point when you will actually go down in terms of payment or position, right? So what you see your career as would depend on the point in time where you're evaluating it. And so we always have like the previous view of it, and we try to analyze what went wrong, and we try to compare with the previous versions of other people and try and see what we could have done better. Now, what I'm trying to say here is one individual person who probably chooses to maintain the same position or the same salary, or a person who has chosen to increase their position or salary, both of them have done one common thing, which is made a decision based on principles. And here I want to talk to you about the 4 P's of career decisions. The 2 P's I've already spoken to you about are payment and perks, and profile and position. The other 2 P's are the path you're going to take. So path is basically the career path. The profile is the instantaneous career point that you're going to, this could be a designation, this could be a position of power in a company, etc. And the 4th P is the place or the location where you want to work. Now, throughout our life, we make career decisions based on these 4 P's, but what we don't realize is that this principle of making decisions based on these 4 P's is not consistent throughout our career. So when we begin our career, we probably have 0 years of experience. We also may not be having a huge bank balance, and so all we are looking for is some experience or some start in a good company. At that point in time, will we prioritize payment, perks or path? Now the answer could differ depending on each person's requirements, but then we have a different principle when we begin our career. When we reach mid-management, for example, at this point, you would have a little amount of bank balance. You probably also have a bigger family. You have some experience. You have some likes, dislikes. You have earned your position in the company or in the industry you are working in. And so your preferences at that point in time would completely change. So the same principle that you had applied at the beginning of your career may not be applicable when you actually reach mid-management. So at mid-management, you might want to stabilize on the place or the location, or you might want to move ahead and look for a better profile or a better position of power in the company. Same goes with when you go for a higher level of management. Maybe you prioritize payment, maybe you prioritize power, or maybe you prioritize the location. So the same principle that we had used to make a career choice at the beginning of our career will be very different from the principle we use to make decisions, say at a mid-management or a higher management level. Why am I telling you all this? How does this really matter? Because these days I'm seeing that a lot of us are going into introspection mode, and we're trying and making graphs like these of our careers, and we are unable to understand where our career is going to go, and we fail to understand that the principle that looks the best principle of all the 4 today was not the best principal of yesterday. So the same person and the same person's career decisions have had different principles at different points in time, and I want to emphasize this again and again, because when we introspect we forget that little nuance, that the principle that was true for me at my fresher stage of starting my career, for example, looking for payment, I wanted the highest paying job, may not be true when I actually have 10 or 15 years of experience, because at that point in time maybe pay doesn't matter to me, the location matters to me. And so when we try and analyze our career, we fail to take this into account, that at that point in time the decision I had taken to join company A or take up role B was relevant, because at that point in time my principle was pay. But at this point in time that looks wrong, because today I am looking at yesterday with the lens of place as my principle. Now that would always look wrong, because this place is the principle for today, not for yesterday. So do not analyze your career choices of yesteryears based on today's principles. Always have this outlook that at each point in time, what principle had you used to come up with your career decision. If possible, take a book, and whenever you make a career choice, whenever you shift a company, whenever you shift a role, whenever you decide to stay in a role, all these three scenarios, sit and analyze what is the principle based on which you are making this decision, and make a note to yourself that in future 10 years down the line, when this decision looks dumb, then you will know exactly what was your decision making point at that point in time. Now you must have seen this very interesting or famous saying that never judge a person until you have walked a mile in their shoes. And so what I wanted to try and say here is that we always talk about judging others and what is right and what is wrong about judging others. But today I want to question you on judging yourself. Are you judging yourself, your past self, based on today's principles? And if you're doing so, then think about walking in your own shoes of yesterday and thinking what were the priorities and preferences of yesterday that made you pick one of these principles as your decision making pivot. Because otherwise it becomes impossible for you to understand why you've made a certain decision. All our decisions of the past will look dumb, will look illogical, and will look so obviously wrong that we would start questioning each and every decision that we are going to make in future. And so keep this thought in mind. There are 4 P's for career choices: payment, profile, place and path, and these vary with time. The principle that you use to make career decisions varies with time and with your position in the society, in your life, in the family, etc. And when you're trying to reverse engineer what must have happened in the past, walk in those shoes. If you were living in a house that had no AC, think of those days when you did not have AC, and think of what must have been the mindset of the person who made a certain choice in those circumstances, and only then introspect. Otherwise, you will realize that you are analyzing your successes and your failures with the lens of today, but your lens of yesterday was completely different. I hope that this video will make you think more on being less harsh on yourself and trying to be kind to yourself when analyzing your career choices, because no career choice is wrong. It is the principle that we've used at that point in time to make a career choice that determines what we become, and whoever we become, we should be at least happy with ourselves, because the world outside is very harsh and at least we owe ourselves that kindness. Thank you.